What is up, everyone? Welcome to a live stream for Rose Online. Let's chat with the developers of Rose Online for Thursday, June 18th. I am CM ShazamO, and I have thankfully both the developers here for Rose. I have Leonis,
Hello.
and I also have Genesis
Hey.
with us today. As you guys mentioned before, we will be going over the upcoming updates for Rose, the storage, the trade policies, and also just new things that be coming to Rose. And I think Leonis will be showing some stuff off as well. So, I'll let them take it away. But if you guys have any questions regarding about trade policies or just anything Rose related, please post it in the Twitch TV chat, and we'll definitely try to answer those questions for you today. So take it away, Leonis.
Um, so a lot of you guys have been noticing that we made a post regarding the coming trade changes, and there's been a little bit of misunderstanding about how that was going to go down. So we're going to be here to try and clarify and clear up some misunderstandings that we've been seeing, and hopefully help ease this into the community as much as possible, along with helping everyone understand the reasons why we're doing it. I'll start with probably the most common thing is why are we doing it? There's a number of different things that we've been witnessing over the course of years in development that have been kind of difficult for us to try and get around. And one of those things is content. Most times when we spend the time to make content, we've watched it be, enjoyed, but our expectations of how long it would take to go through it all and exhaust it to the point where people start getting bored of it wasn't matching up with what was actually happening. And unfortunately, we weren't able to figure out why for the longest time, and it only kind of recently became a bit of an epiphany, and it's that one of the most unique things that we've had in the long run of Rose is one of the things that's actually been fairly detrimental for us, and that has been the open free trade. As we've tried opening things up more and more, we discover things actually are getting worse and worse for us. Not just from the standpoint of us as a company for our item off sales. Yes, that is a consideration. I'm not trying to make this focus because of that, but it's actually also about the economy. Our economy in the game has been pretty inflated, and over time the reasons why is because items that are hunted never leave the economy. Once you find an item, you're able to take that item and constantly pass it around to your next character, your friend, their friends, and trade it back and forth as you need to. And every time that happens, what it really is actually translating to us is that those people or your other characters aren't going through content anymore because you have that item. So it's damaging to the gameplay in a sense, and especially for us as developers, because we really can't stop it, short of locking the items down to your character or account. So that's one of the main reasons why we actually decided to go forward with this. We've witnessed in other MMO style games that this is actually something that's kind of standard, and it wasn't necessarily that we didn't understand why, but we didn't really understand how it was impacting our game and our economy as well. So now that we're kind of recognizing it a little better, we are faced with the unfortunate decision of having to kind of comply with that as a means of survival for Rose. It doesn't by any means mean that Rose is dying. However, it does hurt us in the long run the longer it stays in the game. Now, I know a lot of players have brought up the idea that it's like, well, why don't you just introduce new items? Why don't you just introduce new content? It goes back into that. The time we take to make new content isn't exactly quick, and you guys go through it much faster than we're able to create it, and we can't keep up with it. So when we try to come up with content that we expect to last for weeks to days to months at a time, just depending on how we have to set the rarity of things, once it's found, it negates completely the expectancy of having to hunt for it anymore, because the first person that finds it, they start sharing it. Nobody else that they share with ever feels like they need to go hunt for it again. So that's the problem, the number one problem that we're basically faced with. And unfortunately, this is the only solid solution that we've been able to come up with in order to do so. Um, Now, on that, we still have other things that we're still trying to implement. So I'll go into that a little bit later. Did you want to say something, Jen?
No, that really covered everything.
um, it is really kind of hard to, properly communicate the issue and try and get it across that this really is a problem for us, because we can't keep up with the pace of development of content when you, as a community, are able to exhaust it, within a tenth of the time that we're able to create it. It makes it very difficult for us to, keep at that pace, because we really want to keep you guys, constantly happy and active and able to enjoy things, but at the same time, we're not a big team, and it puts a lot of pressure on us, and we just kind of have to sadly face the music of we just can't do it. But that doesn't mean we're giving up on it. It's just we need to figure out, a way of getting our expectations of how content gets played and rewarded and acquired, to match the actual gameplay itself. Now, I want to kind of make a couple of things clear regarding the implementation of the changes to storage and the restrictions that we've been proposing to the community to review. We're not going to do it all up front. We're not going to slam you with that. That's devastating. We're going to do it in stages. We're going to be coming out with the storage implementation first, and then we're going to give you a week to get used to that, so you can have the free trade that you're used to right now, and then we'll give you a list of the first stage of items that are going to be changed over to the new restrictions. Now, again, I have to kind of emphasize the fact that these restrictions aren't forced, in the sense that they will be locked to an account or character at the the start of the update. You will have the chance of unequipping, trading off the item to character, account, whatever you want to do. It's the moment you re-equip that item is when it becomes bound, and you will be warned. You will be given a warning if you're sure you want to equip an item, and it'll also indicate what the restriction will become once you do. It'll say account bound or character bound. And in many cases of item all items, it'll say item all account or character bound. Generally, account bound for item all stuff. And the item all indication lets you know that you can put it in item all storage. And whether it can go into account storage or character storage. So the first stage will be a week after we introduce the database update, which I'm hoping people are testing out right now. If we can get through a high amount of testing with the database and find out that there's no problems, like items aren't duplicating or phantoming. We've had a couple reports where when you switch gears, an item will phantom into the inventory or vice versa into your equipment slot. So we need to fix those major bugs so that it doesn't become a problem with the community and with the actual live economy. So as long as we have major bugs like that, we're going to have to continuously postpone the update. But that sounds like good news to you regarding the postponement of it. But again, letting you know, we're already going to be slowly rolling out with what these restrictions are, so it gives you a chance to get prepared, get all your equipment set to where you want it to be, and then you can have that second chance after the fact to confirm that's where you want it to be. So yeah, the first stage after we do the implementation will be a week after implementation for the database. Originally, the database was planned to be implemented on, well, tomorrow, but we've hit a couple bugs that might postpone it to the maintenance after. We'll keep you guys notified as far as that all goes. The current plan is first implementation of the database. The second week will be the first stage of implementing restrictions, which will be epics and dungeon drops. Epics were basically including anything that's a purple name, drops from the dungeon, which include mounts. The second stage will be things like the blue items and crafts, anything that's a level 100 plus. Third stage will be rares and crafts that are level 99 and below. Fourth stage will be honor and valor gear, and the fifth stage will be, well, basically everything else, which includes event items and item all items. So the very end, we're going to be eventually putting those restrictions to the item all items as well. So, but you will have the absolute longest possibility amount of time we can possibly give for you to have all of that sorted out and get it where you want it to be. One of the things that we're going to try and roll out as quickly as possible is also an update to our drop tables. The way the drop table works right now is actually pretty difficult to work with, and I know many of you have had problems with the just complaints about the drop system in general, that it doesn't drop enough, it doesn't drop the right rates, it doesn't feel right, you don't feel rewarded. We see that, we get that, and it took us a long time to kind of figure out what can we do in order to make it work. And after a lot of review and discussion, it essentially came down to we need to start over and make something that we really want to work. So rather than trying to keep using what was, given to us from day one, we're going to trash it and kind of start over. And what this is going to do now is we're going to make it so that drops are kind of tiered by category. So instead of a monster, once it's defeated, dropping one item as a single item roll, it's going to have multiple tiers of drop chances. So it can have a 80% chance of dropping a common item, so you can get a material from it most often. And it have a 20% chance of dropping a rare blue item, and it can have like a 2% chance of dropping some epic purple, just all at once. So if you get really lucky and you get all three, you roll successful in all three types, you will get all three yields. Doing this also is we're going to be opening up the idea of bringing back the way stockpile used to work, where it would actually increase the quantity of drops, which I know many of you farmers will probably be happy to hear. We're going to be including the granularity of being able to control the minimum and maximum drops from monsters instead of letting it be based on this very odd and peculiar formula that we discovered. And
It was really arbitrary.
yeah, we didn't understand it actually, and the funnier thing about it is that it was self-judging, where if we changed some settings on the server to try and make it so that in the past when we had Zuli drops, increase the Zuli drops, it would artificially lower itself to drop less quantity of items. So it was a self-balancing mechanic that we didn't like and couldn't control. So it was really frustrating. But we're doing away with all of that, and we're going to make it a completely new system in order for us to be able to have the control that we want, so that the players can actually experience the gameplay the way we think it should be, which is, rewarding items, good chances of things. The other things that we're going to also be bringing back is actual Zuli drops. We'll bring back Zuli drops so that they too are also their own category of drop types, and we'll control how much Zuli gets to drop as a range between certain monsters, so it doesn't self-balance based off of your character level versus their character level. It's kind of just going to be a flat thing. So if you want to farm for Zuli, you can farm for Zuli. Same for items as well. Another point of interest that we actually are kind of looking forward to, is with the way that we're going to be splitting things up, we're going to be able to start introducing new stats that will be able to be featured as farming stats. So instead of having, just a flat drop chance to drops, we can actually say specifically, give you a stat on an item that says you having 5 or 10% increased chance of finding a rare or an epic, depending on the tiers. And so you can actually customize yourself out for true farming gear, which give you greater chances of finding better items or just higher quantities of them, by giving a stat that increases the minimum or maximum quantity of farmable objects. So these are some of the things that we're working on. The drop system update is actually something that can be relatively quick. Genesis has been working on it already. He's been pretty confident about getting it in sooner rather than later, so that's something that we've been kind of excited for. I would like to go over some more stuff, like we talk about the glow effects, we'll talk about the storage. I don't have the screen, so ShazamO is going to probably have to show off the storage himself.
Sure.
So in the update that we have for our storage, we've listed out that currently we have 4 tabs to our account storage. We're keeping that right, into the new system update. What you're going to see is new is there are 2 extra tabs, or 3 extra tabs really. But one of them is the premium storage, which if you're a premium service user, you will have automatic access to this, and it'll actually be giving you 10 pages, which is 6 more pages than what was previously given if you had all the expansion coupons. One of the things to note is we are getting rid of the expansion coupons, and we're turning them kind of not into, but turning over into them to expand your account and character tabs. The reason why we're not doing it to the premium tabs is because, being a premium user, there is a uniqueness to the premium storage, which is not only will you have 10 pages just right off the bat, but as a premium user, you can access that storage from anywhere in the world. ShazamO's not a premium user right now, so he can't access it.
I think premium's turned off. Like, I was talking to other players on the accounts and they can access that information.
Let me do something
Let's
really
give you fake
quick.
premium.
Let's give you fake premium for a second. If I type that in right. I don't think I typed that in right.
So
Genesis, can you do it? Or do you not have powers to do it?
No. Only.
Is it... Hold on. Check your message real quick. I'm trying to remember this, how this works.
Meanwhile, as they work that out, guys, I will remind you.
Oh, no, it worked. You got it now.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, I did see the premium subscription expires 00000.
I'll see. This is where I'm like I'm silly, because I'm sitting here looking at our stream and I'm like, why didn't it work? Oh wait, it's delayed. See, even I miss things sometimes. So if you're watching the stream, just to the very top of the icon bars of all the menus, you'll see there's a new icon. ShazamO, if you want to put your cursor just over it, the icons on the menu to the right.
Yes, I see it.
There's one icon just above it.
Looks like a little box with an arrow pointing into.
It's a little delayed, but I got it, guys.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sitting here looking at the world map. So
Why is he so slow?
So there. That will allow you to have premium access to your premium inventory no matter where you are, so long as your premium service is active. So that's the fun feature of that. And then also, as I was saying, you have 10 pages. That is, gosh, I forget, what was it, 40 slots per page? So that's a lot.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
maybe it was 60. But anyway, that's 10 pages. And so that's a lot of items that you can have. Again, we also set it up so that you can freely organize all your stuff within each tab, which means they won't resort. They will stay in the spot that you drop it in, which is really a handy feature that has been asked for a very, very long time.
Not that.
Other things I was talking about, the expansion, where the expansions to storage is going to be to account and character. The account storage is shared amongst all of your characters, so we've put a maximum limit of 20 pages. Yes, it's a lot, but I have no doubt that someone out there will eventually fill those pages, so that you can have as many things as possible that you want to share between all of your characters on hand. With that being said, the character inventory is new and unique because in the past we've not been able to have you put any specific items we want to have locked to that character, be it for a quest, be it just for personal achievement, stuff that we do not want you to take away off of your character. We are going to have a character storage now, so you can put all that stuff into the character storage, and character storage itself actually will be unlimitedly expandable. So it's infinitely expandable. So you can expand that thing just to the end of the end of the universe and store everything you want on that one character's character storage. Generally, account allowable storage stuff can go into a character. Pretty much everything can go into the character storage. As far as I believe.
Near enough everything, yeah.
Pretty much. There's probably going to be very rare an item that will not be allowed to go into character storage, which would be qualified as a quest item. Quest items need to be in your character inventory all the time, not your storage. Storage is not checked for things, and to avoid quest breaking, we will essentially lock an item just to your character's inventory. But those items tend to be rare, and you tend to do quests with them, so they will only be in and out of your inventory so long as you're either on the quest, up until you finish the quest. So that's some of the expanding features that we have. One of the other kind of fun and cool features that we have, let me see if I can trade some of these to ShazamO real quick. We have the ability to change the glow rate or the glow color on your equipment now. Now what we've done is we've grandfathered in all the existing glow colors. I can't trade you, Sam. That would be why. So I'm gonna give him a whole bunch, minus the few that I just used myself.
Ooh. I'm a fan of white
Like,
and red and blue.
Yes, quest rewards can be put into storage. Like anything you get at the end of a quest.
there you go. I still gotta fix that second exchange button.
I'm a
Anyway.
fan of it glowing though.
But yeah, so if he's got to refine on any of the equipment that he has, he can use those coupons or painter items to change the actual color of the glow. What I was going into was that any existing glow that is going to be on your equipment, that will be carried in as a legacy. So we won't be changing anything that you have, but any new equipment that you refine past this point, it will switch over to the new color scheme. So by default, refined glows will be white. With these coupons though, you can change those colors to any of the rainbow colors that we just introduced. I think there was like red, orange, purple, green, blue, light blue, white, if you want to go back to white. Did I miss any?
There's white,
Yellow.
red,
Green. Oh, yellow.
green, blue, yellow, light blue, purple, orange. Fuck
Orange, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said orange.
And none of my items are refined, unfortunately.
Uh,
So I believe NK said he does have refined items. So once again, I could always just hide and highlight how he looks. But
Oh yeah, go ahead and I mean these coupons are tradable. They will be tradable, so you will be able to go ahead and pass them around. Friends, you can sell them on the market if you want to. Whatever you want to do, as long as it's a refined item, it'll work. I think even technically, if it's not a refined item, it'll still work. It's just it won't show a glow until you do refine it.
Yeah, you'll notice that when you do use the item on whatever item you want to change the glow of, it'll show up in the item's tooltip what color the glow is.
Right. So yeah, even if it doesn't have a refine, the glow color that's intended or changed to will show up on the tooltip next to, I think generally next to the item grade.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah. So we're trying to allow for a lot of those cute little customization factors. Right now, those coupons are set for those are the item mall coupons.
Ooh.
We're still trying to talk about introducing them to the gameplay, whether they're going to be part of a Valor shop or a potentially like a craft kind of result or something like that. Because we've talked about the idea of play to win. Currently, they're just item mall. And the reason why is because they do not impact gameplay. They are strictly vanity. So at current, they are not a pay-to-win concern. So that will be why you won't see them in the actual game shops or anything like that as a natural game acquisition to begin with. But it's not impossible that we do include it over time on some degree or level, something to help filter them in. Gosh, what else can I go over? I'm sure there's been lots of questions. I've not been looking at the chat, so if anybody has a question that they want to throw at me at the moment that I might not have covered, please feel free.
I'll also make a mention that we do want, I guess, the Pegasus to be stress test. So please, I mentioned it in the Facebook post and other venues, but please, if you have a Draconis character and you happen to be watching, hop onto Pegasus and just log in and join us in Junon. So
Yeah, the more people we can get on and the more stuff that people test, the sooner we'll find all the bugs and get it finished.
Don't take that as don't test, because you don't want us to, there's going to be a cutoff point where even if we don't get enough testing, if all the testing that we do, we can't find anything, this will go live. And so if there are bugs, then you're gonna have to deal with them, and then it's just gonna be a huge headache, and we don't want that. We seriously don't want that. So that's why we're trying to push as much as we can towards the attention on Pegasus, and we really hope that everybody comes and tries not just to help us stress test and find bugs with us, but also to help you see what's going to be changing. What's on Pegasus right now is essentially what the end goal is going to try and be, or as close as we can get right now, as far as us going over the finer details. So you'll see some things are character or count bound on equip, and some things might not match up to some of the things that we've been saying. We probably just overlooked it. But for the most part, like I said, we're going to be rolling out the restrictions in stages. So it's going to be every week is going to be a new stage, and I'm going to do my best to put out a list of everything that absolutely is going to be changing from and to, as far as that restriction goes. And keep in mind, when you see something that says character bound or account bound on equip, that means you have to take it off and then put it back on, and then say okay in order for it to be bound. Then after that, anything that actually has the bound terminology used on it means that you can unbind it. We will be giving access through a Valor purchase for 100 Valor points, a item unbinder coupon. This is good for one use only on any equipment that's bound, and it will reset it back to whatever the status was before it became bound. So if you use it on a piece of equipment that's already equipped, you will not unbind it and then it gets stuck automatically because you're wearing it. You have to take it off and then put it back on. And you will be asked every time, do you want to do this because it will bind to your character or your account, depending on what the item was. So you have to reconfirm. So you will be able to, like, for the most part, most of these items you can vend again, if you want to try, you know, make some Zuli off of it. Otherwise, you can pass it to your friend. But keep in mind that the item unbinding coupons are account bound on or character bound on acquire. Excuse me. So the character that you are unbinding stuff on is the one that has to earn that effort, and that's kind of one of the things that we're kind of turning to, is that we're asking, in a sense, that if you want to return something to the potential market's economy, we're asking. I know it sounds like I'm saying we're asking, but you're thinking like we're forcing. We are asking that you consider that if you're reintroducing this item to the economy, that you put some effort in to do that, because you've already earned it. You put in the effort to earn it for you, or for whoever happens to have it and spent the money for it. That if you're going to bring it back to the economy, we want you to put in a little bit of effort to do so. 100 points is not difficult to get. It can take a few quests. Generally, it takes a single dungeon run. And you can have that. And for people who don't do dungeons, you can do it for honor, technically. We have the honor to valor conversions, which is a 2-point honor to 1-point valor. So 200 points of honor, that's what, 2 games? 3 games maybe? Depending on your class, how good you are. It can be even 1 game. It can be less than 1 game. I mean, some games I've seen people have lots of honor given to them. Gosh, I saw an Akram Arena. I mean, the Akram Arena point potential is pretty high. And I recently increased it so that it can go higher without trying as hard. So I'm hoping that doesn't become an abusive thing, but you know, it's there. So again, I don't know if there are any questions at this point.
Well, what was one question was show the unbinding coupons, or like I guess the differences between binding and unbinding, and I think you already kind of went over that as you were talking, but I will mention that NK does have the red refine on him, so if you looked earlier on the screen, you can see how he looks like, and I'll do another kind of pass through of how he looks like as well.
Where the unbinding coupon will be, it's actually inside the Valor shop. It'll be in the 3rd materials tab and under the consumable section, along with where the Valor to Honor and Valor to Energy coupons would be purchased. And it is, like I said, 100 Valor points. I have a question regarding from Google's about, can mounts be unbound and for use for other characters on account? Mounts, actually, if you were to look at them, if you have one, I don't think we have any at the moment that we can show, but mounts actually will be displayed as character, or is it character or account? But it will say locked. I believe it's character locked. For
I think it's character locked.
For the mounts that drop from dungeons, I believe they are character locked on use. So once you find it from the dungeon, you have the ability to trade, vend, do whatever you want with it, up until the point that you use it. Once you use it, it will become locked to that character. For the item mall mounts, I believe they are account locked on use. So same situation, except for you can use it across all your characters like most item mall items tend to be. But once an item is locked, the unbinding coupon will not work on them, because they're not bound, they are locked. So that term is something important to pay attention to if you ever do see that in the trade restriction. I hope that answered that question for you, Googles.
Is there anything you'd like to... Oh, that's really purple.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good shine on there.
Those eyes and that mouth, though, it's pretty scary.
That is kind of creepy.
Is there anything you want to interject, Genesis? Or just anything you want to add on to?
I know I did just kind of just like feature vomit on everybody, and I'm glad that this is recorded so that people can go back over and review. But I think I hit all the things that we were talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any particular questions that might be asked. I really do want to kind of express and hopefully convey that we're not doing this to upset the community. We don't really had a hard time trying to come up with a way of making this be a feature that can be acceptable. Because we know, you know, from a gamer standpoint, this hurts. You know, I guess for lack of a better word, it sucks because it seems like we're taking things away from you, and in a sense we are, and I'm sorry for that. I really, really am. But there's a mentality that we've been witnessing, and it's kind of something that I've been discussing with a few of the community members, and I tried to bring that to light in the fact that your gaming mentality has changed because of this relaxed environment that has been left alone. And that is when a recent discussion, when an event comes up and you spend the time to collect a couple sets of a costume that's part of it, and you want to hand it off to a friend or a clanmate for a picture or something. Clanmate comes up to you and says, like, I don't have that costume, I can't join in on the picture. Normally you would think, oh, I'll just give them one of my spares and that'll be done with it. Well, what you just did was you made it so that that person doesn't have to do the event anymore. They have the costume for that moment. They may not want to do the event ever now because they see what it looks like. But the thing is, they'll have missed out on that content. They'll have missed out on what the experience is. They'll not actually appreciate what went into collecting that costume that you might have gone through, and in some cases, you know, hell. Because we've made some costumes pretty difficult to get, and if not involved. But you have it now, and now you never have to do it again. Why not wish that torture on somebody else? Okay, not torture, but you know, it's that experience of achieving something and going through the effort and having it now. Letting them get their own. And like I said, you handing it to them has become the mentality. Instead of saying, this is how you get it, I'll help you, I'll guide you, I'll bring you, I'll help you through the effort of what it takes. I will help collect the items that you need. You know, I'll help you farm, or I'll help you, anything. I will help you rather than, here you go. So it's hurt our community in that mentality of wanting to help people in the sense of gameplay, not just achieve what they want, but it's that gameplay. You know, this is an MMO. There's supposed to be an interaction. There's supposed to be playing, and a lot of that's been lost, and it's kind of been making us a little sad to see that sometimes people refer to Rose as just a glorified chat room, and that's not what it is. And when we hear things like that, that kind of takes a stab at us a bit, because that's not what we want. We want Rose to be something that can be enjoyed and played. Being in the world is one thing that you can enjoy because it's the world that we've all created together. But when you call it a glorified chat room, it's kind of a punch in the gut. So, anyway, I'll try to hold my emotions a little bit. But that is the underlying reasons why we're doing this. And it's not, again, it's not because we're trying to upset anybody, because frankly, if we make everybody upset, you know, we're gonna lose our community, and then we'll make it even harder for us. And it's, you know, it doesn't make sense for us to want to do that to you, because then we're just making it difficult for us. But we are faced with that hard choice, and in order for the longevity of Rose to improve and succeed, this was one of those unfortunate decisions we had to make.
Alright, with that jarring speech, we'll probably maybe go on for another 10 or 15 minutes. If you guys have any more questions regarding about, you know, what Leonis and Genesis have currently talked about, please post it into Twitch TV chat as well. You know, I'll I'll ask again, Genesis. Is there anything you want to add on to what Leonos just said, or anything you want to kind of help kind of promote or push out, or?
Well, on the bright side, even though this might be not the most awesome thing for the community, it can only get better from here.
Very true.
So I
Very
mean,
true.
now that we've hit this point where we're putting in something that kind of changes what we do from now on, it can only really get better from this point. More features, more awesome stuff.
True. There's kind of a, I guess, interesting question. Jam Pony One, very interesting name, asked, "Do you have any plans to allow us to merge accounts?"
Ooh, you want to
That's-
talk about this now?
Oh no! Well, once again, I just found that like that's the first time I've heard that question being asked, so I just thought it was very interesting.
Actually, Genesis, this is something I did want to talk about during the stream, and I forgot about it completely.
Oh, okay.
When we were doing our pre-game stuff.
Thank you, Jam Pony.
Yeah, actually, that's a good topic to bring up. The community has asked for us to think about doing a merge. We are thinking about it now, with the facts of what the database update has been possible for us to do. Merging is actually possible now. So we are thinking about it, and we are talking about what gets merged, what we're going to try and preserve. We're actually going to be talking to a lot of the other staff here at the Gravity Interactive and the Warp Portal staff. Ragnarok has gone through a couple server merges in the past, so we're going to be, talking to them about their experiences and their considerations that they've had, and we'll be talking to the community as well regarding what it is they find important, and then weighing the costs as far as the time to preserve something versus the difficulty, what it's worth in regards to turning into a new server. So yeah, we are talking about it. When it's going to happen is completely undefined right now. We have no date set. Obviously, the community may want it sooner than later, but we also want to make sure that everything that we've been working on and towards is working good and stable. And yeah, so it's gonna be a detailed process. It's gonna be a I understand, Jamponi, your question was about a account merge, not a server merge, but merging.
Is there really a difference between the two?
Well, I mean, yes, I can say there is, but at the same time, this is a merging process is going to be one of those things that's going to happen first before we start doing account merging. Account merging can be a little bit more messy because you're dealing with combining slots of limitations. Like, we only have so many characters that are supposed to be associated to a single account. If we're going to open that up to merging, that's on a slightly different can of worms. And if we actually do a server merge, it'll be kind of like account merging to begin with, but it'll be one of those first steps that we do it. So.
But yes, thank you for that question, and I guess it all led into the whole possible server merge.
This will raise a lot of, I'm sure, questions and chatter within the community. We are looking, we're considering it. We're seriously considering it. Just because the community has asked for it, as much as we've been lately yelled at regarding not listening to the community. In fact, we do. We listen quite a bit. It's just, it's hard to do everything that's asked of us because we're just 3 people. So we have to pick which feature and what to implement once at a time. And if we work on everything all at once, well, nothing gets done, and then we get yelled at that we're not doing anything. So so it's we're looking at it. We don't have a server name picked out yet. I see people are already proposing names. So So when we get to that point, we'll probably be putting up like suggestions and see what the community wants to try and
Possible
pick
poll
as
or
a name.
something.
Yeah.
I did receive a question, and this was actually from a PM regarding this, since they said they wouldn't be able to make it to the stream today. Possibly regarding the unbind coupons, if it's possible to have like an overall coupon that would unbind everything you currently have equipped. Do you think that'd be possible?
That's kind of difficult for it's kind of difficult to implement something like that, because that requires like us to take extra steps as far as like, gosh, how do you explain this, Jen? Yeah, I think
It's not
Genesis.
something you could easily show like on the interface when you want to use the item, because normally it works like a drill where you click on the unbinder coupon, then you click on the item that you want to unbind, and it has like a little padlock icon.
Ah, I see, I see.
But there, if you had some kind of coupon that would unbind multiple things, it's not something that you can easily show. Like what is it actually going to unbind when you click on an item?
Gotcha. Okay. Well, players were just curious about that, so I just wanted
Yeah.
to feed their curiosity. So there's
I mean,
the
I
answer.
suppose one thing that we could maybe consider in the future is introducing like discounts, where if you want to buy multiple items, we can put in a discounted option.
That makes sense. Like you buy in bulk, you save essentially like 30 item all points per one or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or for Valor as well.
I like how they called you British, Genesis.
All right, let's get this straight.
Yeah.
Scottish.
But that's a good way to end on today's stream. So, thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you so much, Leonis and Genesis, for coming on and explaining in much greater detail about how you guys plan to move on with these changes and with the future of Rose and the possible things to come. So I'm sure everyone's very excited about it. But with that, thank you so much, Leonis.
It's my pleasure. I hope that we've answered everyone's questions. I don't know if there's any more that might be out there, but
Well, I think we'll still have the trade policies thread up, and then I'll probably move to the game discussion area. But people can still talk and have questions about that, same as the storage, I guess, thread as well. And thank you so much as well, Genesis.
No problem. Yeah, we'll be quite happy to keep answering questions like on the forums afterwards.
And then these will obviously be linked on our Facebook, so you can always refer them to there. But you should always check out our forums. It's always a cool, hip place to hang out. But with that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.